Well, that's sad, isn't it? Hold on. Let me turn off my podcast. Yeah, that's pretty sad. And I've seen a lot of lost dog posters posted up in the neighborhood over the last little while. And, you know, as far as I can sort of think in my head anyway, I feel like it's all preventable. And I'm not trying to blame the owners, like it's your fault, your dog is lost, but a lot of this stuff is totally preventable. And every time I kind of hear about a dog getting lost, the way it got lost to me was completely preventable through some training or just some careful management. So let's address a few of the ways that I hear of dogs getting lost, or getting loose, I should say. One of the main ones for sure is like a dog slipping their collar when you're out. That is a big one. If your dog slips their collar's too loose. Hold on, I gotta adjust my leashes here. I got them tucked in, but I don't think I gave Chickpea quite enough slack today, so we'll fix that up. I'll readjust once I'm done this video, because I'm one-handed right now. If your dog slips their collar, the collar was fit too loose, and I will tell you, everybody, unless you've spoken to a trainer, everybody fits a collar too loose. Everybody. Every single person. Like, they're hanging around, you could put a fist in between the dog's neck and their collar. Like, it's too loose. Most of the time when I fit a training collar properly, like, people are like, oh my god, that's too tight, and I'm like, no, that's the way it should fit. You want it to fit like a watch band, okay? So, hard to see my watch band here, but one finger, like I got one finger. My watch isn't spinning around on my wrist, sliding up and down to my bicep. It needs to be fit nice and snug. No more than 2 fingers, but a finger under will do the trick. So it should be nice and snug, should be kept up nice and high. You'll have better control and better response from your dog if the collar's up nice and high. If people use a Martingale collar, Martingale is like a half nylon flat collar with a little piece of chain in the back. Sometimes it's webbing. Don't get the webbing ones, they're garbage. And don't get quick release buckles too, by the way. Quick release buckles pop open. If it's a steel clasp, what they call a cobra clasp, where it's got 2 little pinchy things to open it up, that's cool. But stay away from those plastic ones, man. Plastic is garbage. Plastic's gonna break. Unless your dog's under 10 pounds, I wouldn't go with a plastic buckle. And so buckles breaking, that's another way dogs get free from their collars. I hear that a lot. A Martingale collar, essentially, if the dog tries to back out of the collar, like they try and pull out, the Martingale cinches and gets snugger. So it's kind of like, have you ever seen those Chinese thumb cuffs where you put your fingers in and then the harder you try and pull your fingers out, the tighter it squeezes? That's kind of like a Martingale. Ollie, Chickpea. And they originally designed Martingale collars for sighthounds, like greyhounds and whippets and things like that, because their head and their body, Chickpea, Ollie, their head and their body are the same width, right? So hard to get a collar to fit properly that won't slide over the dog's head, so they designed the Martingale. At least that was my understanding. If I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comments or something, but from what I heard, that's kind of where Martingales came from. So that's one thing, is dogs slipping their collar, or collars failing, right? So we talked about plastic buckles. Prong collars, sometimes I've seen prong collars, the links that weaken over time, and then the dog shakes their head one day and the link pops open. I've talked about this in previous videos, and back when we were boarding dogs, you would have remembered that when I was showing boarded dogs that came in on a prong collar, we would put a secondary flat collar, like a backup collar, and then we'd clip a carabiner between the two in case the prong collar failed. That way my dog is still, or my client's dog is still connected to the leash in some way. So you can always use a backup collar if you're unsure that your current collar is working properly. So collar issues, that's a big one. Next, dogs bolting out the front door all the time. That's what I hear a lot. You can train that out of your dog. Easiest way to do that is with an e-collar. Now there's some proper techniques. You don't just press the button. Like if you think that's going to work, if the dog crosses the threshold and you just hit the button and that was your plan, the dog might just take the correction and bolt out the door. So you need some extra training tools. I'm not going to get into that here because if I give you all that information, why are you going to hire me? I've said that in previous videos. And I'm not trying to be a jerk about this stuff. I give you advice on my YouTube channel. Sometimes I give you some real basic training techniques. I don't give away a lot of free techniques on my YouTube channel because then there's no reason to hire me. And I've talked about this before. Yes, there's lots of YouTube trainers that give away all sorts of techniques for free, and they got 4.5 million followers, and they're making money off their YouTube. I don't make money off of YouTube. I got like 150 followers or something like that. My videos are not getting monetized, trust me. So that's why I give you enough advice, but I can't give you the training techniques. You can use a training line. There's a bunch of different ways to train your dog to not run out the front door. But if you can train your dog, like I started right from when my dogs are young, when they're a puppy, or as soon as we adopted Penny and Ollie, we trained them not to go out an open door. An open door is not an invitation. An open door is just simply an open door. Open, closed, it doesn't matter. You have to be invited to go through that threshold. So some basic training will save you. Dogs that bolt out the gate in the yard, if it's not locked, same thing. I've worked with a number of clients now with just awesome results. So that could be trained. It's the same way. It's a barrier. It's trained the same way as the front door is. Dogs that dig under the fence and escape. I hear that all the time. I've said this in plenty of videos. I'm sure not too many people are going to like this answer. Our dogs have never, ever, to this day, they've never been in our backyard unsupervised. If they're running around the yard, either Chris or myself are out there. We're hanging out in the yard. Maybe we're doing yard work or, something out there. Maybe we're just sitting there chilling. Maybe we're interacting with the dogs. But the dogs are never out there all alone because then they might do some unwanted behaviors and I wouldn't be there to give them some feedback to say not to do those behaviors, right? Like, our dogs aren't digging holes or doing things because if they are bored, then we're going to be out there to try and interact with them and keep them entertained. And it just doesn't make sense to leave your dogs in the yard by themselves. Ollie, Chickpea. Got some people up ahead here struggling with their dog. Well, their dog's just owning them. She's just like, oh, my dog won't come with me. But those are typically the ways. If you took your dog off leash somewhere and then your dog just got loose. Hold on, Penny's kind of looking over there. She's getting ahead of Chickpea. Yeah, so if you take your dog off leash somewhere, conservation area, Bruce Trail, whatever, and your dog runs away there because it wasn't trained, come on, what do you want me to say? Don't let your dog off leash if it's not trained. And if your dog's not trained, get yourself like a 50-foot training line and then take it to the park on the training line. No biggie, right? But like, in my opinion, look, first of all, you're breaking the bylaw if you let your dog off leash, and we all do it. I get it. Maybe not every single dog owner, but a lot of us will sneak off to a quiet, safe place and let our dogs run for a bit. But if you're going to do that, make sure your dog's trained. And if the dog's not, like your dog's not trained and you let it off leash and it runs away, I don't know, what do you want me to tell you? Bad move on your part. But I think that just about covers all the ways that I've heard of a dog, Chickpea, Ollie, a dog somehow getting loose, getting lost, getting out there in the world without their owner. And it's sad. I mean, you don't want to see these lost posters put up everywhere, because that means that somebody has lost their beloved furry little family member, and it's super stressful. And then you're thinking about all the stuff like, oh my God, is my dog okay? Where are they? Are they going to be able to eat? Has someone found my dog? Like, it's super stressful. So yeah, don't make that mistake. And if there's another way that you've heard of a dog getting loose, let me know, because maybe there is something that I haven't thought of that wasn't necessarily a training issue, but I would say everything that I've mentioned is either a training issue or a failure of some sort of training tool, all of which can be mitigated. So it doesn't have to happen. Your dog never has to get loose. And if you didn't know how to train your dog, let's say for the front door, you got a dog that bolts. I don't know, put a baby gate up at the front door or a baby gate at the hallway leading into the front area so that you prevent that from happening. If you can't train it out of your dog, or you don't know how to train it out of your dog, then put some management, like some management steps into place so that it doesn't happen. Anyway, it's sad, but that's my 2 cents on dogs that get loose. It's a shame, but it doesn't have to happen. And if you've got a dog that wants to bolt out your front door, or you're struggling with some stuff, then call a trainer, man. We'll help you through it. That's why we're here. All right, guys. It's supposed to be 30 degrees. It's only 7 a.m. I am out here on the early shift this morning because I want to get these dogs out for a good long walk before the heat of the day comes in. All right, guys. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.